it going, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of AddiBiotics Chat Over Coffee. This week, I have the esteemed pleasure of interviewing somebody I grew up watching. If you grew up in the 90s, there was a lot of great teen sitcoms that were around, such as Saved by the Bell, Hang Time, One World, USA High, City Guys, the list goes on. My all-time favorite one was California Dreams. It was like Saved by the Bell, but with a band. And today I have the esteemed pleasure of interviewing one of the actors of that show. This year marked 30-year anniversary of when Dreams first aired. I have the esteemed pleasure of interviewing the living legend himself, Mr. Jay Anthony Franke, who you remember as Jake Summers on the show, known for his leather jacket, bad boy attitude, and also riding the Harley Davidson motorcycle, and most importantly, being one of the best guitarists ever and one of the greatest characters that was ever created. We're going to know how Jay got into acting, how he describes Jake Summers, and what the cast has been up to recently as well. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a cup of coffee, and enjoy this interview. Oh, and don't forget to click subscribe, turn on notifications too while you're at it. Appreciate that. Jay Anthony Franke, thank you so much for doing this. How are you?
Good, how are you? And no worries, man.
I'm great. I know I've said it before, even before off camera, and I've said it to quite a few friends as well. Interviewing somebody I grew up watching is just like one of the greatest things ever. And it's like a great way to top off 2022. And even with my birthday turning up next month, this is like just a great thing ever. I feel like I've traveled back in time to talk to you and everything. This is legend.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, if we could travel back in time, that would be great because I'm getting old. So
more like seasoned, put it that way.
Seasoned, yeah. Very well seasoned.
Yeah. Right. Jake Summers doesn't do old, he does seasoned, put it that way.
That's right.
Well, great to see you. Thanks for coming on my show. Like I said, Jay, I grew up watching you on California Dreams. You were just the embodiment, epitome of being badass, even before badass was an official word. But you were just with the cool leather jacket, the Harley Davidson motorcycle. Unfortunately, we didn't get to have those privileges here in England, but right. I just wish I lived in the States at the time when it happened. But growing up in the 90s was just like a great thing because you had all the great teen sitcoms such as Saved by the Bell, Running the Halls, USA High. But to me, California Dreams just stood out from everything and everything else. It was just, it had great characters, great storylines, very meaningful storylines. Like, for example, the episode where Kelly Packer's character was taking steroids, and then there was also one of the greatest episodes was yourself when you were your character whose uncle you looked up to, and he was smoking. Then you should realize yourself, oh, this is too dangerous. He's unfortunately been diagnosed with cancer. This is going to happen to me. That was a great example to set for people, especially in that era.
I appreciate that, and also I do have to mention that the part of my uncle was played by Eddie Mecca, who was an institution unto himself. He was a legend, song and dance man from the 60s and 70s. He was the Big Ragu and Laverne and Shirley, amongst a massive resume, and he's just an insanely talented dude. And he did pass away. I think it was last year.
Yeah, he did. So rest in peace.
Talk about him.
Yeah, I remember him coming in. What was it? Happy Days. There was an episode. I think he was where he played a boxer. And then there was the funniest thing when he says to Fonzie's character Henry Winkler's, "Are you warm? Hang on. Yeah, I'm warm." They cracked his fingers. Yeah, I'm warm.
Yeah,
that was just absolutely epic. But to speak to yourself, Jay Anthony Franke, again, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on my show. Thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure.
Thank you, brother. So how did you get into acting?
I think, excuse me, had a rough night last night. I think pretty much I had just decided at one point that it's just what I wanted to do. So I kind of had to action that and make it happen. So I basically just started finding my way around Los Angeles and who to talk to, and I met some people who knew some people, and I was able to talk to some more people, and then pretty soon I had an agent, and then I had a manager, and then next thing I know I'm auditioning, and I auditioned for years and got parts here and there. Married to Children General Hospital, various bodies of evidence, various little parts. And then this part came up, and I remember, I think it was my manager saying, "Hey, do you know this show, California Dreams?" I don't. He said, "All right, well, you have an audition." So I went in, and then I think it was about 5 or 6 auditions later, I had the part. So yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things. It was either do it or don't. Unfortunately, I decided to, when the show was over, I decided to self-exile myself from the business just for my own sanity, I think, or personal safety and sanity. It was just kind of a crazy time. So I kind of wish I had, I don't know, figured out a different way, because I really enjoyed doing the work. So, it was necessary at the time. But that's how I got into it.
No, I was actually going to ask you again. The second question was going to be, how did you get casted? But you already beat me to that. But good on you. What was it like, your very first reaction when you arrived on set for the first time? Because obviously you came in season 2. Jake Summers turned up in season 2. But I can still remember the episode where you came in, the episode Jake's Song, when you just came in. I reckon every girl in the whole crowd just screamed when you saw it. It's like, I can remember showing that episode to my co-host Aidan. Big shout out to Aidan Riley, and you'd like him. He's famous for his hair. We always say that to him.
I like his hair.
If you ever see him, this is how you would meet him, because his hair is quite big. So you look at him and go, "Oh, there's Aidan right there." That's how I met him for the very first time. And I showed him the episode, and he just immediately was just blown away by your presence. He was like, "Oh, this guy's just cool." Even the way he walks, and like all the women were like all over you in that show and everything. And because like right away, to me, you just stole it. You were just, it was like, this is the greatest. Honestly, not just saying it, Jay, but this was like the greatest character I had seen in teen sitcoms. Other ones had great characters, but Jake Summers was just blew everything away, to tell you the truth.
I really appreciate that. Thank you, man.
Yeah. So what was it like the first day when you arrived on set? Because obviously everybody else was a little bit more like, everybody knew what they were doing. There was Brent Lee Gore, Michael Cade, Kelly Packard, who went on to do Baywatches and everything. And there was also Heidi Lionheart and William James Jones. I know he's left the acting business, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a doctor now, doctor of psychology or psychiatry. I'm very proud of him. That's an amazing feat. Yeah, when I first arrived on the set, the first time I went in, it was just, they were introducing me to the cast. They were saying, "Hey, here's this new guy." And I came on, and I think I was completely unshaved. I had a hat on. I was pretty gaunt because at the time I wasn't eating a lot, because, trying to be an actor in LA at the time.
Yeah.
You work, when you can. And anyway, and I showed up, and I could see that they were looking at me kind of like, "What's going on?" And Peter Engel's like, "This is our new cast member, Jay Anthony Franke," and they were all fairly welcoming, and that was just that. And then it got to, and I would say nothing really had hit me at that point. It was still just kind of like, "All right, I'm this thing. I have this part. I really don't know what's going on." Then came the actual day where I showed up for my first day and actually walked into the sound studio and saw the sets, the lights, the cameras, the big table set out for the table read, for the script, for the week's work. And then it hit me, and it was like, "Okay, I'm here. All right, let's do this." And I'm normally not a nervous person. I have anxiety issues, like I have stress anxiety disorder, but I'm not a nervous person. Like, it manifests itself in different ways. So when we went through the week, and I arrived and said, "Okay, this is my reaction," and, "Oh, this is great," and here I am. We went through the week and did the rehearsals, and then filming day came, and I think it was one of the first times in my life that I was shit scared.
I was thought Jake Summers doesn't do nervous. Jake Summers doesn't do.
it was weird. It wasn't nervous. It wasn't. It was like it was more of just a what if I like what if I it wasn't like I didn't have the shakes. I didn't have dry mouth. I didn't have like I said, I have weirdly manifesting my issues manifest themselves weirdly, but yeah, and it was more of just a mental like what if I come out here and just make a complete and total ass of myself and I suck, which I knew I didn't, but it was just in there, it was just in the head. So and honestly, when I look back at that episode, I think I did suck. I think I could have done it so much better, and I would love to be able to go back in time and just redo the first couple episodes of how Jake was, because I think I fell into actually how Jake was in about 3 or 4 episodes. But the first one, maybe 2, I watch them, I'm like, yeah, it's good, it's all right, but I really, really wish I didn't make that choice, or I didn't make that choice, or and I'm not talking like what Jake did as the writers had written. I'm talking the acting choices I made, or the mistakes I made due to inexperience or what have you. But yeah, so I probably answered 3 or 4 more of your questions all in that.
Kind of, but we'll still hit them as well. But I still remember that, like I said, that very first episode was just absolute legendary. Just obviously not just because of the screaming crowd or everything, but even I still remember when I was watching the show again, because I ended up buying the DVD box sets. I'm sorry, I am a geek myself, and
thank you. We're not getting anything from it, but thank you anyway.
But that's how much of a fan I was. I mean, I can remember like still, it's like I said, it was the greatest teen sitcom ever created, and to me, it always will be the greatest teen sitcom ever created. And I can remember the first few dialogues when even Matt Garrison was making fun of what Brentley Gore's character was making fun of yours, and he's like, he's right behind me, isn't he? And they're like,
right,
yeah. And then he's like, I want to see you right here after school, Garrison, alone.
Yep.
It was just legend. And then the whole crowd's like, ooh, what's he going to do? I honestly thought myself, is he going to hit him or something? And he's like, I don't want to fight you. I got it, and you're like, oh, yeah, go on. I like your song. I like your song. I'm impressed. And then you like, I write poems. And it's like, I don't know how you write. I mean, I knew how to write poetry. It's like, you've done like 2 more lines, you're dead.
Right,
it was just so funny. But I think, and honestly, how you came on the first set said enough. On the first scene that we see Jake with, said plenty about him, that this guy is going to go far with this series. And to tell you the truth, you hit it out of the park. As a fan, I'm totally saying that. I don't think there was anything that you needed to work on. You just hit it right out of the park.
I appreciate that. Thanks. You can hear my dogs in the background, I think, but
it's all good. So good. So good. And yeah, so in your own words, how would you describe Jake Summers? Other than being badass. But yeah, how would you describe him?
I think Jake was a man in a teenage boy's body, basically. Jake was a guy who knew what was right and what was wrong. Jake was a guy who really didn't do insecurity. He didn't do he was above petty things. There were certain episodes where they definitely played with those ideas that I just threw out there.
Yeah.
But the general gist that I saw behind Jake was that Jake was already a man. Jake already figured his life out. Jake already figured out what was important and what wasn't. So there was just no wishy-washiness with Jake. And I say that again, there were some episodes again where that idea is played with, and there were some wishy-washy Jake moments. But for the most part, that was Jake in essence. He was just already him. He was already a person, and he was done. We never end up figuring ourselves out. I mean, until we're dead, really. True, yeah. But like he was a person that had figured himself out as much as anybody that age could have. Beyond what most people that their age could have, is how I looked at him. And I think that I kind of took that from my own life experiences at the time as well. So
yeah. I mean, how old were you when you were casted as Jake?
I was 20 when I was cast. I turned 21 from a month or 2 after we started filming.
Okay, so it was a good birthday present for yourself.
It was a pretty good birthday present, yeah. Those paychecks that were rolling in were definitely pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then I was able to go out and celebrate in style as well. Whereas, before, if I hadn't
with the
gotten
leather jacket, with the
right,
jacket.
right, and if I hadn't gotten the part and I would have celebrating my 21st birthday, I probably would have had a 6-pack of Schlitz, sitting in a dingy living room somewhere, smoking a pack of Camel Lights, and and a little cupcake with a buddy or something. Who knows? But it turned out much different, and I'm grateful for it, and my life has been better for it. So.
Congratulations! I'm very happy for you and everything, because I remember when we used to watch the show, regardless of wherever we were, every Saturday we'd be up earlier to watch that than we'd get up for school, and we'd just run downstairs. Seriously, because to us we just wish school was as good as California Dreams. I mean, like, none of us had the inspiration to become a band until we were left and went our own separate ways. Like, we should have done it while we were at school, but we've all gone on to college now, so
yeah, now it's too late.
No, it's too late, yeah. But we're kind of in a band right now, so I'll send you some videos and everything. Yeah, and I told I told the other band members and everything, like, they were asking me who you interviewing soon. I said somebody I grew up watching. And said, oh, congratulations. And I said, wait until you see the interview. Just wait until you see the interview. And I've kept them all in suspense for now, and until they actually see all this. And yeah, because like I said, I remember as I mentioned, we would come downstairs every morning, and we were just like, we were like, as soon as the opening sequence would come on, oh, there's Jake, and we all just like try to pick who we wanted to be. We all just had to pick your character. Just like I said, your character was just like our childhood hero, and yeah, still is.
Awesome. 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
This is Lucy. She's the dog with megaesophagus, and I just heard her drinking. And if she drinks and I don't hold her up upright, she will basically what they call asphyxiate and end up with pneumonia and possibly die. So she just had a huge drink because it's hot here right now. So she's going to be joining us for a little bit. Everybody,
that's fine. Well, Lucy, welcome to Biotic Universe and everything. So this is the first time we've had this done. So again, you're still pulling legendary stunts.
I appreciate it. It's a pretty little dog. We love her to death.
Well, you're most welcome, Jake. You're most welcome. See, sometimes it slips out calling you Jake or Jake. It just happens sometimes.
I'll roll with it. Whatever. Yeah.